Okay, could you start the music and bring in the title, please? Yeah, that's totally wrong. Could you, well, no. Yeah, no. No. Huge no. Still no. Here you go. The April sun was pleasant. I was basking in its glow as I waited at the bus stop for the evening bus to show. A lovely woman next to me was browsing magazines, and nearby, staring at their phones, were several chubby teens. Then an odd thing happened that you don't see every day. A blue jay landed on my foot and settled in to stay. I offered him a peanut, and he hesitantly took it. Then once again that memory just grabbed my brain and shook it. I remembered 10 years back, a splendid afternoon. Kids were out and balls were thrown, activities of June. I went roller skating all around my neighborhood. I was a strapping lad of 23 and I was looking good. But I must have gotten close to some bird's nest up in a tree, because suddenly a blue jay was harassifying me. He was in my face and in my eyes and in my hair, and I was screaming, "Lordy, Lordy, this just isn't fair." He pecked my head, he pecked my arm, he even pecked my butt. It was time to separate from this blue feather nut, so I launched myself away from him as quick as I could hop. Then I realized I'm on a hill and don't know how to stop. The pecking blue jay followed as the roadway plunged before me. I really didn't get his problem. Animals adore me. The street was scary, steep, and hairy, sharp curve at the bottom. I would need some gnarly skills, and I know I ain't got 'em. I hit the curve at 40-ish and launched into the air. The happy jay just flew away with talons full of hair. Hurtling halfway down the hill, I landed on my liver, bounced and did some cartwheels, then splashed down in a river. Raging icy water swept me through some rapid rapids. I got sorely pounded by the rocks and other trapids. The frenzied water settled just in time for me to see a shimmering horizon. Then I paddled desperately, but the cold, relentless river pushed me toward a waterfall. I went over calmly like I didn't care at all. I landed in the ocean. Currents washed me out to sea. A fishing boat showed up and then it plowed right over me. I grabbed a passing log and I held on for my dear life, then washed up on an island where I met my future wife. I was black and blue and battered. She was very kind. She took me in and bandaged me and eased my troubled mind. Then I got a fever and she stayed right by my bed. And late that night she pulled a knife and stuck it in my head. I woke up screaming like a girl, but felt just fine and dandy. She was there in purple hair. She handed me some candy. I ate too fast, then I choked. The Heimlich she performed. I coughed it out. She broke my ribs, and then I was deformed. A dragon punched me in the gut and popped my ribs back out. Then giant pushy squirrels tried to make me squeeze a trout. I ran away, but creepy, awful things were everywhere. My dreams were bad, but when I woke up, she was always there. I determined she's an angel sent from up above. By the time that I was healed, we were hopelessly in love. We dated for a year, and then we married in the city. I was quite a catch, and in the right light, she was pretty. Our love was truly deeper than an ocean and a half, and the thing we cherished most was how we made each other laugh. In a rustic cabin, we got settled in our nest. She was busy painting while I pounded on my chest, 'cause I was playing Fix-It Man and fixing broken stuff. But when half the roof fell in, we laughed and said, well, that's enough. While some pros repaired their home, we traveled on vacation. Sharing laughs and love, it was a joyous celebration. We saw trees and hills and water and some deep old ditches, and she would always tease me saying, "You're a scaredy britches," 'cause I'm afraid to bungee jump, but she just had to try. And one day at a gorgeous gorge, she got her wish to fly. She was grinning on the edge and counting down from 10. She yelled woohoo and did a flip. I never saw her again. I've been so lonely ever since that awful day we parted. I really should move on, but I have been too broken-hearted. She was perfect, full of life. I'll always love her so, but maybe after all these years, it's time to let her go. Suddenly, a ruckus happened all up in my face. It snapped me back to where I sat, a bus stop in this case. On the ground, the blue jay flapped his wings and stamped his little feet. His beak still held that peanut, and I said, "Why don't you eat?" He stared at me, then took a couple small hops to his right. He spread his wings and made like he was going to take flight. But all he did was flap them once and jump into the air. He landed on the woman's head and left the peanut there. He quickly launched up to the sky and flew off in the wild. And although it's not possible, I swear the blue jay smiled. I looked at the woman. She was grinning, quite amused. I said, "Have a peanut, though I guess it's slightly used." She was funny. She said, "Hey, it fits in my collection. It's the missing nut I need to fix the imperfection." Looking up, she coyly said, "I wonder how he knew." I said, "Careful, blue jays have profound effects on you." Quizzically, she smiled and asked, "Whatever do you mean?" "Once upon a time," I said, "a blue jay caused a scene." And so I told her all about that odd, eventful day. She was taken with my tale and had insightful things to say. The bus arrived. We didn't care. We'd made a real connection. Her happy wit and sparkling eyes reflected my affection. I said, "May I buy you dinner?" She thought that was grand. And from his nest, the blue jay watched us stroll off, hand in hand.